Good morning and welcome to Creative Living Fellowship's Sunday morning online service. Please join me in singing our opening song, Use Me.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, and God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Good morning, CLF.
Love and blessings, CLF.
Hello, CLF. We miss you.
Good morning, CLF. Happy prayers.
Buenos dias, CLF.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning to our youth ministry. It is always so good to see them, and it's always so good to see you and to know that you're here with us for this Sunday morning online service. I'm the Reverend Dr. Sherry F. McCreary. It is my honor to be the senior minister here at Creative Living Fellowship and to welcome you here. We are an independent religious science church, and we welcome all paths that lead to truth. Our vision here at CLF is to be a community of care, connection, and creation that opens hearts and incubates dreams. And we do that through the principles and practices of the science of mind. We have two practitioners who are holding the high watch for us today. They are Reverend Joyce Buchers and Jeannie Sarverns. And what that means is that they are sitting in prayerful contemplation and meditation, just holding a space for us to just move through this time and for the perfect unfolding of this service. So I thank you, Reverend Joyce and Jeannie, for your service today. I always like to give a shout out to our Sunday service team. I appreciate them so much and all that they do to bring this service to us. So they are Nicole Jordan and Deb Covington, our AV team, and Deb is also our Sunday song leader. We have our music director, David Panessa, who also brings our meditation service on Sundays. And our tech team today is practitioner Fran Peck. Thank you, Fran, and thank you all for your service. We really, really, really appreciate all of you. Our musical inspiration today is one of my old-time, long-time friends, Karie Hillery from the Santa Cruz, California area. So she will be with us a little later in the service, but I'm really glad to have Karie here with us today. So let's just take a breath together. As we move into this part of the service, Nicole Jordan will be bringing us our announcements. And then following the announcements, there will be a brief gong wash. And after the gong wash, practitioner Reverend Mary Jane Hyde will bring us our reading and our evocation. But first, here's Nicole with the announcements.
Good morning, Creative Living Fellowship. I'm so happy to be here and to be bringing you today your announcements. So, don't meditate alone, meditate with us. Join us for midday meditation at noon, Monday through Thursday in Sacred Practice. You can join us in Zoom or you can join us on Facebook Live. Stay connected and supported with your CLF family and join Reverend Sherry every Tuesday as she hosts a Community Care Connection Zoom meeting at 6:30. This week, Reverend Sherry will be leading us in Life's Purpose Visioning. This is a powerful process that reveals more the more you do it. Visioning is a spiritual practice that aligns you to possibilities greater than you can ever imagine for your experience. Join us this Tuesday and open up, surrender, and align to God's vision for your life. We look forward to seeing you then. This Friday, November 20th at 7 p.m. is Quantum Chair Yoga and Meditation with Reverend Christopher Guru Karam Gallagher. Join Reverend Christopher for powerful Kundalini yoga practices and meditation. Then join us at 6 p.m. in Zoom on Wednesday, November 25th for The Greatest, our Thanksgiving Eve service with amazing music by Charity Lockhart. As a community, let us set the tone for Thanksgiving with gratitude, hope, and full hearts. Remember, you can use text to give to make your contributions to CLF. Simply text the amount you'd like to give to 602-610-1868. If it's your first time donating by text, you'll be sent a link to set up your account. And then after that, it's as easy as texting the amount you'd like to tithe to 602-610-1868. Our Sunday prayer room is available to you after service today. There's no reason to miss out on your post-service prayer stop with a practitioner. Technology enables us to continue to provide this service to you. So immediately after service, head on over to Zoom and let one of our licensed practitioners hold the truth for you, no matter where you are and what you're going through, and offer you support through spiritual mind treatment and using spiritual practices. We also have post-service fellowship too. Join practitioner Jeannie Sovereigns in Facebook Messenger chat from 11:15 to 12:15 and hang out, discuss the service, what's on your mind or heart, or share something that you're grateful for. Also, after service today, your children are invited to join our youth ministry weekly for a Zoom lesson at noon. Lessons are focused on nurturing their spirituality and science of mind practices. Weekly topics are inspired by Reverend Sherry's themes and include social, emotional, growth mindset, and mindfulness practices. You can find the details for all of our events with their links on our website under events, under our Facebook events, posted in the comments, or in your weekly newsletter. And that is it for today's announcements. It is now time to move on to our gong wash, followed by a moment of silence.
comes from the book 365 SOM, A Year of Daily Wisdom from Ernest Holmes. And this reading is from November 1st. O Lord, thou art my God. I will exalt thee. I will praise thy name. Thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. Hallowed be thy name. And that's Isaiah 25:1. The attitudes of praise and thanksgiving are salutary. They not only lighten the consciousness, lifting it out of sadness and depression, they elevate the consciousness to a point of acceptance. Praise and thanksgiving are really attitudes of recognition. They are affirmations of the divine presence, the divine abundance, the divine givingness. It is only when we live affirmatively that we are happy. It is only when we recognize that the universe is built on affirmation that we can become happy. Today, through praise and thanksgiving, I recognize the divine presence in everything in the midst of darkness. I will sing a song to the dawn, for I know that the eternal light dissipates all darkness. Today, I will recognize the beautiful and the perfect in everything. I call it forth with praise and thanksgiving, blessing the spiritual reality back of all things. Gratitude is one of the chief graces of human existence, and it is crowned in heaven with a consciousness of unity. That's from the Science of Mind, page 497. It's so, and so we take this attitude, this feeling, this energy of thankfulness, and we take this into prayer and we call it forth. We call it forth from within. Because that attitude, that feeling, that energy of thankfulness, of thanksgiving, of gratitude, that is God. And that energy is at the center of everything. And that energy, we ask, what is that energy? That is God. And it is, God is, it is love, it is peace, it is harmony, it is joy, and it is definitely gratefulness. That knowing that all is well, that all is God. And no matter what anything else looks like, that God is present. And that is what is within me, that spirit, that energy, and that is calling, I'm calling it forth, and it's expressing in, through, and as me. And that same energy of God, of the divine, of thanksgiving is present within each person here, within the sound of my voice and beyond. That energy, that presence is God, and it's expressing in, through, and as each of us. And that is what we call forth right here, right now. And it is in this knowing, in this knowing that God is present within all, that I speak my word, and I accept that the divine is fully present in all things. It is that energy, and it is peace, and it is harmony, and that is what we're calling forth through the activities and experiences of everyone in this country, that no matter what it looks like, no matter what turmoil may be happening or may appear, that is not the capital R reality of our universe. That is not the capital R reality of the people of our country. The reality is, the capital R reality is that of love and peace and harmony and thanksgiving, gratitude for what is, even if it doesn't look like what we think it should. That divine is present, and I'm grateful for it. That divine is present as the expression that is expressing through Reverend Sherry speaks the words of the divine that we listen to, that heals, that guides, that helps. that divine is present through the music that we hear, through the song, through the energy, through the playing. That divine energy is present through all that do whatever is done to bring this service to call the expression that is called through Creative Living Fellowship, that expresses through this service. I'm grateful for all of this. I'm grateful that thankfulness, that thankful energy is present. As I release these words, as I let them go, as I know. And together we say, and so it is. And I would like to introduce our musical talent for today. It is Karie Hillery.
I am thankful, grateful for every gift received. Thankful, grateful for every loving deed. I am thankful, grateful through happiness and grief. Thankful, grateful, I trust and let it be. I am I'm thankful, grateful for every lesson learned. Thankful, grateful for bridges that weren't burned. I'm thankful, grateful for every kindness earned. Thankful, grateful for love that's been returned. I'm grateful.
Thank you so much, Karie Hillery. It's so great to have you back with us again this week. Karie was here just before we went out for COVID, and it's good to have her back with us again today. She'll be back again during the offering time. So I love that litany of Thanksgiving that she gave us in that song, because that's exactly what we're talking about this month. A litany of Thanksgiving, a list of things for which we're grateful for, a list of things for which we're giving great thanks. And so I love the fact that that song just led us into our theme for the month. And so I invite you to take a breath with me now as we just dive deeper into this litany of Thanksgiving. And keeping in mind that Thanksgiving just doesn't happen once a year. It just doesn't happen just one day a year. It happens all the time. And it's so important. We are just reminded through this time that it's so important for us to really develop Thanksgiving, really develop gratitude, really develop appreciation. And when we do that, Thanksgiving, as the reading said, is a recognition of that divine presence when we give thanks. When we give thanks is a recognition of that divine givingness. When we give thanks, it is a recognition of the allness and the fullness of life. And so I invite you all to really get into giving thanks, really get into developing your own litany of Thanksgiving, and doing it every day. When we make a list of things we're grateful for every day, and see something to be thankful for in every moment of every day, that's how we develop that litany of Thanksgiving. And it goes throughout the year, not just, as I said, in November. So let's take a deep breath together. Today's topic is each day brings its own. Each day brings its own. Each day brings its own. You know, I've been hearing a lot of people say they can't wait for 2020 to be over. They can't wait for the next year to come. They can't wait for this phase to pass. And I just listen, because, you know, each day brings its own. Each year brings its own. 2020 brings what 2020 is bringing, and the next year will bring what it brings. Each day brings its own opportunities. Each day brings its own challenges. Each day brings its own fear. Each day brings its own faith. Each day brings its own possibilities. Each day brings its own. And so we have to live in each day. We have to live in each moment. We have to live in the now moment, without rushing, without looking ahead, without trying to jump over this time, skip over this part so that we can get to the next part, because we don't know what the next part brings. We don't know what 2021 will be like. We know one thing for sure is it will be different. We pray and trust that it will be better. But those are all conditions. We don't know what 2021 will be. We do know what's happening today. And what we want to do is to learn to move through each and every moment of each and every day, and live through each and every challenge, live through each and every possibility, live through each and every opportunity, live through each and every, whatever it is that we find ourselves faced with. That's what we want to do each and every day, because each moment brings its own, each day brings its own. And what we do is to focus on that which is constant. We focus on the only thing that is real, and that is the allness and the fullness of God that is in each moment, that is in each day. And when we are focusing on that, then we can walk through each moment. We can walk through each day. We don't have to wait for 2020 to pass to live in this moment. We don't have to wait for 2020 to pass so that we can start doing something different. We have to start right where we are. We have to start right where we are, right here and right now. We have to be in this place, be in the now, right here, right now, right this moment, today. And when we are doing that, then we are living fully. We are living completely. We are living in the only thing that's real, and that is God. You know, I've gotten a lot of feedback over the last couple of weeks about a lot of different things, about life in general, and particularly as, again, we still are in the election season, and people are still in the aftermaths of the election. We're still in pandemic season and conversations and experiences, and people are still caught up in that. We are all still caught up in all those things. And so what the thing that I hear the most, the thing that I I am aware of the most that's coming from people who talk to me, who write to me, who call me, who text me, or whatever, is fear. There's so much fear. People are experiencing so much fear. People are still experiencing fear as a result of the election, of the atmosphere, the divisiveness, and things that we talked about last week and have been talking about for weeks. And people are dealing with fear of dealing with walking through this time of a pandemic, of a global pandemic. Fear of the unknown, fear of not knowing what's going to happen next, fear of not knowing what we do next, how we do whatever. You know, let's take a deep breath. That's the first thing we have to do, is take a breath and step back. Take a breath and step back. Take a breath and step back. Because fear of the unknown is something the unknown is something that is always with us. We have never known what was going to happen next. We have never known what was going to happen down the road. We have never known any of that. So the fact that we don't know what's going to happen next when it comes to the pandemic, that's nothing new. We don't know what's going to happen next with the new administration coming in. That's nothing new. We've never known. We always thought we did, but we've never known. So when we can just be in a place of coming back to what is really real for us. You know, someone said that the only crisis we face is fear, because in fear, we begin to believe in the reality of the crisis. The only crisis we face is that of fear. Because when we are in fear, we begin to believe in the reality of the crisis. What we want to believe in that is the only thing that is real. The only thing that is real is the power and the presence of God. The only thing that is real is that which is changeless. The crisis comes up because we start to think that the facts that change, the facts that are temporary, the facts that are transitory are real. They are facts. The truth is that behind all that is God. Behind all that is the only thing that has ever changed less. And when we can return unto God, when we can return unto that presence, that power, that allness, that fullness that is God, that is always right where we are, then we can be in that place of faith. We can be in that place of faith. We can be in that place of faith and gratitude for recognizing that we're hitching our wagon to the star that is God, and we're walking forward in the faith that God is always right where we are, always guiding, always directing, always protecting, always taking care of us. I say this all the time, and I will continue to say this all the time, because it is the only thing that is real, that God is the only thing that is real, that is always with us. That is always with us. So what I'm inviting each of us to do is to recognize that each day brings its own things to be afraid of. Each day brings its own opportunity for faith. Each day brings its own good. Each day brings its own good. And so what we want to do is to live in an expectancy of good. Expectancy of good. Let me give thanks for what this day is bringing. Let me give thanks for the good that I know is coming this day. I give thanks in advance for the good things that are happening right now. For the good things that are happening right now. And then start to enumerate those things in your life. Start to enumerate those things in your life. One of the things I really want to impress on each of us this day is to start to take responsibility for your own consciousness. Start to take responsibility for your own consciousness. We're the only ones who can control our consciousness. Our consciousness is up to us. It isn't up to somebody else or them or whoever, anything outside ourselves. Our consciousness is up to us. Take responsibility for your own consciousness, because everything is about consciousness. Everything is about consciousness. We cannot experience that with which we are not aligned in consciousness. So we want to make sure that we are taking responsibility for our own consciousness. If we are walking around in a consciousness of fear, what are we going to do about that? How do we change that? How do we move out of that consciousness of fear and move into the consciousness of faith? And fear can be overwhelming. I understand that. When we allow it to be, it can be overwhelming. I'm reminded of a story. I've told you the story before, but it warrants repeating right here and right now. Many, many years ago, I was having some serious tax problems, and I was being audited by the Internal Revenue Service. And I was terrified. I had to, at that time, I don't know how they do audits now, but at that time you had to go into the office and talk with the revenue officer and take papers and documents and all that. But at any rate, I was having big problems, and I had to go in for this audit, and I was really, really terrified. And at the time, my first practitioner had decided to leave. I was living in Ohio at the time. At the time, my first practitioner had decided to leave Cleveland and move to Los Angeles to go to the School of Ministry. And she stayed at my house the last week that she was in town. So I was really happy that she was there because she got to pray with me every day about this audit that was coming up. And the morning of the audit, as I was getting ready to leave home, she had prayed with me. And just as I got ready to go out the door, she almost had to push me through the door because I was so afraid to go. I just didn't know what was going to happen. And as I stepped into the hallway, I lived in an apartment. As I stepped into the hallway, just before she closed the door behind me, she said, "God is bigger than the IRS. God is bigger than the IRS." And I stopped in my tracks and I turned around and I said, "What did you say?" And she said, "God is bigger than the IRS." And I looked at her and I said, "Are you sure?" She said, "God is bigger than the IRS." Do you know, I have never forgotten that. I felt my life change at that moment. I knew that there had been a big shift. I didn't know exactly what had happened, but I knew that something resonated so deeply within me. When she said to me, "God is bigger than the IRS," and I really, really got that. Because at that time, there used to be a time when people were really afraid of Internal Revenue Service and being afraid of being audited. And for someone to tell me that God is bigger than the IRS, wow, that's pretty big. That's why I had to ask her, what are you telling me? That has been my mantra. That's been my mantra for years. When something comes up that I'm really getting caught up in fear about, or I'm really getting concerned about, or I'm really finding myself worried about, those words ring out for me. God is bigger than the IRS. God is bigger than the IRS. And you know, when we start to really let that sink in, that's really a big deal. That is the beginnings of taking responsibility for your own consciousness. That's when I began to take responsibility for my own consciousness. I wasn't even a practitioner at the time. I was reasonably new to religious science and certainly with working with a practitioner. But when she told me that, and whenever we talk periodically, maybe 2, 3, 4 years pass without us talking, and then we talk again, and then we laugh about the fact that God is bigger than the IRS. And so what I'm saying to you is God is bigger than any politician. God is bigger than the government. God is bigger than COVID. God is bigger than all of that. When you find yourself in fear about anything, let that be your mantra. God is bigger than this. God is more than this. God is bigger than, name it, whatever it is you want to name it. Just knowing that God is bigger than that. That's the big thing for us to keep in mind. That's how we start to take responsibility for our own consciousness. When we state that truth, when we believe that truth, when we live in that truth, that God is bigger than whatever the condition may be. Because when we are focusing our attention on next year or 2020 or what's happening now or who's in office and who I voted for and all those are conditions. All those are conditions. When we're focusing on things that can change, those are conditions that we're focusing on. We want to focus our attention on that which never changes. That which never changes, that which is always the same, that which is always right where we are, that which is always, always bigger than anything, any experience that we can have, any condition that we can have, anything that comes up in our lives. When we keep that in mind, then we're taking responsibility for our own consciousness. Because what we do is develop a mantra. If that isn't the one that you like, develop one that you like, use other ones. But the consciousness we want to have is to know that God is the only power. God is the only presence. God is the only mind. God is the only intelligence. God is the only. God is the only. And that onlyness is our very life. Our very life. our very life. You know, science of mind teaches that there's a power for good in the universe and we can use it. Well, that power for good is God. That power for good is God. And when we align ourselves with that power, then all things are made new. All things are made new, and we can release and let go of waiting for something, a new day to come, or waiting for something else to happen, or waiting for somebody to change, or waiting for some condition to change. We align ourselves with the changeless. We align ourselves with the changeless, and then that's when we have that consciousness shift. That's when we have that consciousness shift. And that's how we take responsibility for our own consciousness, changing the way we see things, changing our perspective about things, changing the way that we think about things, changing our thoughts, being mindful, minding your mind, watching your thoughts, because our thoughts dictate our attitudes, our thoughts dictate our experiences, our thoughts dictate our emotions. Our thoughts dictate our words. Our thoughts dictate our actions. As I said, our thoughts dictate everything. Our thoughts dictate everything. And so when we are watching our thoughts and paying attention to what we're thinking, when we find that we are thinking a certain way, then changing that thought to whatever it is we want it to be. Changing our thought to whatever it is we want our experience to be. You know, Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. At first, we have to know what we're thinking. We have to know what we're thinking. So in order to change your thinking, you got to watch your thoughts so you know what you're thinking. You know what you're thinking. Oftentimes we can look at our experiences and tell what we're thinking, because thoughts are things, and we bring into our experience that which we are thinking. Holmes also says that man, by his thinking, can bring into his experience anything that we desire, as long as we're thinking correctly and becoming the living embodiment of our thoughts. Man, in his thinking, can bring into his experience whatever he desires, so long as he's thinking correctly, number one, and he becomes the living embodiment of his thoughts. The key to that is thinking correctly, thinking things that are true, thinking that which is real, thinking things that are uplifting, that are positive, that are forward moving. That's how we change our thinking and change our life, because we're thinking correctly. And then by thinking correctly, we have to become the living embodiment of our thoughts. So if in correct thinking, we're thinking that there's only one life and that we are all a part of that one life, then we have to become the living embodiment of that in every moment of every day. We have to live like we believe and like we know that we are living, that there is only one life and that we are all a part of that one life. We can't live in separation and think there's only one life and then do things that are separate and talk things that are separate and think things that are separate and live in separation from each other and live in separation from God, do those things that are not in keeping with oneness. We have to think correctly and then become the living embodiment of our thoughts, become the living embodiment of our thoughts. It's all about us. And I've said to you before, and I say it over and over again, that regardless of what our mothers told us when we were kids, that it's not all about you. I'm saying to you, yes, it is. It's all about us. It's all about us. It's all about you. It's all about what you are thinking. It's all about what you are doing. It's all about how you're living your life. It's all about what's going on in your mind. It's all about whether you are worrying more than you are praying. It's all about whether you are more focused on the facts than you are on the truth. It's all about whether all these things. It's all about you and what's happening for you. That's how we take responsibility for our consciousness. Watching your thoughts, paying attention to what you're thinking, paying attention to what you're thinking. And then I invite you to take advantage of, use the tools that we have. We have so many tools available to us to help us develop our consciousness, to expand our consciousness. Take a class, see a practitioner. We have practitioners who wait on Sundays in the Zoom room to pray with you. If you're having a difficult time moving through this time, if you're having a difficult time moving through the fear, if you're having a difficult time remembering who you really are, see a practitioner, call a practitioner. They're waiting to pray with you. They are available immediately after service in the Zoom, in a Zoom room to pray privately with you. They are available to take your calls for prayer requests. They're available to talk with you on the phone. They're available to answer your prayer requests. When you email them in, they're available all the time. Take advantage of the opportunity to have a practitioner pray with you, pray for you, know the truth for you when you can't know the truth for yourself. That's what practitioners do. That's how we really get through to that place where someone's holding that space for us to move into the truth that we know, to move into the truth that we are. That's what practitioners are there to do. Those are the tools that are available to us. Take advantage of the Tuesday evening connection call that we have. We can connect as a community. We need to surround ourselves with people who are of like minds, because when we're constantly listening to television and having the numbers show up on the screen for how many COVID cases there are and how many COVID deaths there are and how much COVID is spreading, yes, those are all facts, and it's good for us to know so that we can be mindful and take the care that we need to take. But we need someone who knows the truth and see beyond those appearances when we can't see beyond the appearances to the truth. We need someone who can know the truth for us, and that's what the practitioners do. And that's how, and they will help us to develop the tools to be able to see those things for ourselves, to see that truth for ourselves. So take advantage of that. And as I said, the Tuesday evening connection call, when we are together on Tuesday evenings, we are either visioning for God's vision for our lives, for our individual lives. God has a vision of himself as each one of us. God has a vision of himself for each one of us. And so when we come together in vision, we're opening ourselves up to catch that vision. What is God's vision for my life? What is God's vision for my life? And so that's what we do on some Tuesday evenings. And then on the opposite Tuesday evenings, we're having conscious conversation, either about what we're talk about on Sunday or other issues that come up. Other issues that may come up in our lives during the week as we go through this time. This is how we stay connected. This is how we stay connected. This is how we stay on task. This is how we up-level our consciousness, by continuing to be around and to connect with people who are of like minds, of like consciousness, who are continuing to look higher and higher, and continuing to want to live for the highest and the best for all concerned. And so it's important for us to really keep in mind that there are tools that are available to us. There are tools that are available to us. There are tools that are available to us. And if we don't practice what we know, we don't know it. To desert the truth in our hour of need is to prove we don't know the truth. That's what Ernest Holmes says. And so during this time, we don't want to desert the truth. We want to cling to the truth that we know. We want to embrace the truth that we know. We want to stand in the truth that we know. The truth that we know, that God is bigger than all of this, that God is more than all of this, that God is my very life, that God is always right where I am in each and every moment of each and every day. And so when we come together and connect, and another way of connecting I just wanted to mention was on Sundays after service, practitioner Jeannie Sovereigns has the fellowship time. We don't get together in Holmes Hall anymore because we can't, but we can get together on Zoom and fellowship together and talk about things that are going on, share with each other, eat while you're having it, have lunch together. We can do whatever during that fellowship time. So these are all the tools that we have. And of course, the tools of affirmations and prayer and meditation, our spiritual practice, up-leveling our spiritual practice all the time. That's important. These are important things for us to keep in mind. For us to keep in mind that it really is up to us. It really is up to us to take advantage of all the wonderful things that each day brings, because each day really does bring its own wonderful things. And those are the things that we want to focus on. Those are the things that we want to experience in our lives. Those are the things that we want to have at the forefront of our lives always. And so I invite you to let the stuff go, to let it just fall away, and to stand in the truth that you know, that God is real, that God is all there is, that God is real, that God is your very life, that God is your very life. And God is more than anything that you can experience, anything that you can know, anything, anywhere. And so keeping that in mind, start to give thanks for all of it. Start to give thanks for all of it. Start to give thanks. Develop that litany of thanksgiving for all of it. And so let's just take a breath together as we just move into this time of prayer. We just move into this time of knowing and sensing and feeling God's presence, as we just move into the awareness and the recognition that God is all there is, that God is the only power, that God is the only presence, that God is the only life, that God is the only mind, that God is the only breath, that God is the only activity, that God is. This is what we move into, the awareness and the recognition that God is. Because God is, I am. This isness that is God is my life. The same truth that I know for myself, I know for each and every being that shows up as God. I know that God is the life of each of us all, and that each and every one of us. And I know that we each and all are made in the image and likeness and out of pure spirit itself. And so I speak the word for each of us. I speak the word for each of us, that we allow the fear to fall away. And we stand in the truth that we know that God is right where we are always, healing, loving, caring, comforting, easing pain. We can release and let go of doubt. We can release and let go of the fear. We can release and let go of those things that would hold us back. For God is in the midst of everything, every situation, every circumstance, and healing is happening on every level of our being. Any sense of separation from God that we may have is healed right here and right now. But the word that's being spoken and our standing in the truth that we know that God is all there is. That one power, that one presence from which I can never be separate, from which none of us can ever be separate. And so I speak a word specifically for healing in the body temples of anyone who needs healing this day, knowing that every cell or organ, tissue, function of our bodies is filled with the radiant healing presence of God that is in the midst of every situation, everything that's going on, everything in our body temples, no matter what we name it, no matter what we call it, the wholeness and the fullness of God is in the midst. Healing right now. Every situation or circumstance that comes up in our bodies of affairs, God is in the midst of it. That healing presence of God, that healing presence of God, that loving presence of God is in the midst of it. In the midst of any experience of COVID, in the midst of any experience of loss, in the midst of any experience of anything that is unlike that loving power and presence of God. God is in the midst of it all. And healing is happening right here and right now by this word that's being spoken. And so we just take a breath together as we just move into that place of opening the circle of prayer so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer this day. You may speak their names silently or aloud, but you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I know that God is right where each of them is, blessing and keeping them. I know that this prayer goes out to anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day, knowing that God is in the midst of every situation, every circumstance, every event, every hurricane, every diagnosis, every apparent loss, that the allness and the fullness of God is in the midst of it all. And healing is happening everywhere. And so I simply say thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, infinite presence. Thank you, divine mother. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you some more for everything. I know indeed that all is well, for I know indeed that all is God. And so it is. Thank you, David. So now this is our conscious giving time, the time that we give of our tithes and offerings. And this is, as you know, the time that we give of our tithes, as I said, the words will come. CLF is a tithing church, and we invite you to participate in this sacred practice with us by giving of your tithes and offerings here at CLF. You can do that by donating on our website, or you can click on the comment section on the donate link and donate that way. You can also text to give. However you choose to give, we certainly appreciate your continued financial support. And it really helps CLF a lot, and we really appreciate it. So right now we're going to say our offering blessing together. It's on the screen. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God. And so it is. And so now here's Karie Hillery again with our offering song.
No matter what, no matter how, gonna find something to be thankful for, gonna find it right now. No matter when, no matter where, there is a silver lining somewhere up there. So you gotta look deeper, never give in. Even though some days it looks like you'll never win, your trust will go stronger. Soon you will see, you'll wake up one morning and you finally believe. No matter why, no matter who, there's always something to be thankful for. I swear this is true. Try looking around you, looking inside. Maybe there's something you've been missing. Open your eyes, because you gotta look deeper. You wanna give in. There will be times you're positive you'll never win. Keep digging deeper. Soon you will see. You'll wake up one morning and you finally believe. No matter how crazy or how much it hurts, keep searching for something to be thankful for all that you're worth. Trust that it's out there and carry within. We all have our own lives and journeys. That's time to begin. So please you gotta look deeper. Never give in. Even though some days it looks like you'll never win, your trust will go stronger. Soon you will see. You'll wake up one morning and you finally believe. Open your eyes and you'll
Thank you again, Karie. It's so good to see you and to have you here with us. We really love the music that you bring to us. Look forward to having you back again real soon. So let's just take a deep breath together as we move into closing announcements. I just have a couple of reminders that the youth ministry meets at noon today. And if you're going to watch the football game, drop your kids off at the Zoom room on your way to the game so that they can be with the youth ministry while you're watching the football game or whatever else may be going on. And of course, the fellowship time with Jeannie Sovereigns happens immediately after service also. And the practitioners will be waiting for you in the prayer room immediately after service, waiting to pray with you, waiting to speak the word for you and to know the truth with you and for you. So take advantage of the practitioners being there in the Zoom room. And don't forget that you can email practitioners at prayer@creativelivingfellowship.com, and they pray over your prayer request for 30 days. Or you can call practitioners. On-call practitioners are listed in the comments, and they're also listed on our website. So you don't have any excuse to walk around with a heavy heart when there are practitioners who are available to pray with you. Also, don't forget that we have our Tuesday Evening Connect call. I mentioned that earlier, and I look forward to seeing you this week at 6:30 to 7:45. I'm there every Tuesday, and I love it. I love connecting with each of you who shows up on Tuesday evenings. The treatment for supply, our community prayer, use it, and then use it some more. Use it in the mornings, use it in the evenings, use it whenever, just because it is so comprehensive. And it is so important for us to make this treatment and other treatments, other prayer as a part of our regular spiritual practice. So I invite you to continue to use the treatment for supply. And most importantly, I invite you to continue to connect with each other, continue to call, text, reach out, email, however you reach out to each other, just to say, I love you, I miss you. We are still community. We are still family here at CLF. And we have to just continue to remember to reach out to each other, to say hello, how are you? And I'm saying to you, I miss you, I love you, can't wait to see you. And I trust that all is well. Be safe, be well, stay in God, stay up high. And now we'll have our closing song, I Release.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I